Basically, what you hear from students time and again is that they are paying more with the yearly increase in student fees, but getting far less.
I'm not even halfway through college yet, and I already have like $15,000 I'm in debt, $15,000. So for it to be raised any more than that, it's tough.
And once they graduate, they are saddled with unbelievable, historically unprecedented amounts of debt. And you're talking 5 to 6 figures. So not only can they not find a job, but they're already starting out at a deficit.
It's scary to think about the fact that by the time I'm out of school and ready to start being in the real world and like maybe having a family or buying a house or a car, that I'm gonna have this huge debt looming over my head for a decade or more.
They are fighting to get into really incredibly impacted classes, and what this results in is that many of them don't graduate on time.
There were only 2 classes being offered, and I unfortunately didn't get into either of them. And they told me that I would have to either take a 5th year or change my major. And unfortunately, with the pricing going up so high, I had to change my major. And then finding out that that major as well was going to be cut.
It's really sad to sit in an office that I've been in for so many years and to see the books gone, the files all emptied out, the office, there's a little bit of dust, a couple dust bunnies underneath the shelves, but that's it. And it's really, I think, a crime. Again, it's not so much the attack on me as a person, but the idea that the university has such bad priorities. When they have to make difficult cuts, they don't make them in ways that sort of maximize the education for undergraduates or even graduate students. They make them in ways that maximize the golden parachutes for top executives. They make them in ways that support the parts of the institution that are already making money, like the hospitals. And I think that's really a crime.
What a lot of people don't know is that the University of California, which is a multi-trillion-dollar system, is actually controlled by 25 folks, the UC Regents. And these folks are not democratically elected. They're appointed by governors to 12-year terms, and there's basically no accountability and no oversight by voters or politicians. Statewide, we basically have this taxing structure that's increasingly letting large corporations and the rich off the hook for an education system that has built the 8th largest economy in the world. So California has the 8th largest economy in the world. They have the 9th largest concentration of millionaires of all the states in the United States. This number is growing, and yet the state says it's broke. The state isn't, the California as a society is economically vibrant. We're not a broke society. What we have is a broke system and a government that's unwilling to make people pay for the sorts of infrastructure like education, like healthcare, that have built such a great economy. You can't have a great economy and a healthy society without paying for it.
We're talking about education, and we necessarily didn't talk about the economics of education, but it's all political. And the crisis we face right now, it's often framed as a budget crisis or an economic crisis, but the solutions are political. And the only way we're going to turn things around is to understand the core dysfunction in governance right now. The 2/3 vote requirement has paralyzed this state. We're one of the few states where a majority cannot control the budget and the priorities of our state, including the priority of higher education. So we need to reclaim majority rule in this state, and we need to make sure that people pay their fair share. Many who have been educated by our university system, our state college system, our community college system, who are the beneficiaries of that education, and now are not being asked to contribute their fair share to the future of education. It really is quite simple. The solution is political. We need to mobilize, and we need to make sure those that have gained from our system are paying their fair share.
My mother's side is Hispanic, and her father just always said, no matter what, they can never take your education away from you. And it was just something that she would always say, and it stuck. And the course that kind of hit home when all of a sudden my major was cut, or community studies was cut, and then the same thing with American studies. And it was just that feeling of my family has come here, and we've been here for so long and worked so hard, and now all of a sudden, the second generation in my education felt like being cut or trying to be taken away from me.
If you just keep your head down in your books and go to class every day and not really question how much you're paying for it or why you're paying that much for it, you're going to be paying more next year. And so it's really important to speak up.
Right now, more than ever, it's really incumbent on those of us who really care about education as a public right to rethink what is the common good of education and how are we going to fight for it.
When I started off my sophomore year, I was pretty ignorant. I'd never been to a demonstration or a rally or anything like that. So fall quarter was kind of an eye-opener for that, and meeting everyone was amazing. I really love the community that is fostered from everyone having this common goal. It was exciting, to see that we were actually making a change, and that's why I keep coming back, is because I want to make more change.